Hello everyone and welcome to Harv's World for another episode of Pirates Bay Farm. Yes, we are back in the Caribbean on Pirates Bay Farm, and if you'll recall, I got those oats harvested, but the straw, oh my god, the amount of straw that was left on this field has just been outrageous. I've been harvesting straw for ages. Now, Elizabeth was nice enough to loan me this old forage wagon, and I can't thank her enough for that. It's a bit small, but it has been doing the job. That's the story of Pirates Bay Farm, at least for the moment. Small, but getting the job done. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, close to 900,000 liters of straw left on this field. It's been immeasurable. The silo is overflowing. I've run many loads down and sold them off. I mean, so far I've probably made about $35,000 just in straw. And I'm going to sell off some more here in just a little bit. Hopefully I can get the last of this cleaned up and get this field cultivated, ready to go one more time. Well, I will get this field cultivated and ready to go one more time, but the good news is this field also yielded 147,000 liters of oats. So let's just say the horses aren't going to go hungry anytime soon. And that's a very good thing. We don't want to starve our horses, but obviously they don't need 147,000 liters, so I will be running and selling off some of those oats. Probably, I think I'm going to sell 120,000 liters of oats. That's going to be my plan. Sell 120,000 liters. That'll leave me with 27,000 liters. And I shouldn't have to worry about oats for quite some time. What I do have to worry about right at the moment, however, very definitively, is hay. Hay, I've got to find a solution for hay. And, well, that's my next focus. Now that we've got the trees planted, it's going to take them a while to grow up to a point where we can process them. But even still, I've got to get the money together to buy some property where I can put in my my lumber mill. That's going to be important. No lumber mill means none of the products I need to move forward on my rum. So yeah, it's going to be cash crop time. Definitely going to be some cash crop time. Look at that. This whole trailer's loaded with straw too. I had to pull it out of the silo, and I needed to get the rest of it off the field so I can get it cultivated. But yeah, I have got to get the money together to put in that lumber mill. Because the guys here, they don't have the equipment to do what I need. I need boards and beams. And so I'm going to have to make those myself. And that is phase one of making my rum. Pirates Bay rum. Oh, it looks like, thank God, this is going to be the last of the straw. And I've got to return this this forage wagon back to Elizabeth's farm today. It's just a loaner. She's been very, very sweet, helping me out a little bit here and there. So I don't want to take advantage of that. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Regardless, that's not the issue at the moment. The issue is the straw is finally off of this field. Oh my God, I've been harvesting straw, or picking up straw for what feels like ages. Now today we're also going to talk about, because I was talking about the Republic of Pirates last time we were together, and I mentioned that the the first leader of the Republic of Pirates was Blackbeard, who could arguably be considered the most famous pirate of all time. If anybody knows anything about pirates, if anybody knows anything, you can almost rest assured, or if they don't know anything about pirates, you can almost rest assured that they have at least some minimal idea who Blackbeard is. He was one of the most feared pirates in the world, and I guess you'd just call him the most notorious pirate in the world. But be that as it may, most people have heard the name Blackbeard at one point or another. And I have something else to show you here. Check this out. I got a sign for the farm. It wasn't enough just to fly a pirate flag. I had that baby turned into a sign. So now everybody that goes by will see Pirates Bay Farm. How outstanding is that? Pretty freaking outstanding if you ask me. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm going to make a name for myself on this island. In this neck of the world. I don't think I'll be infamous like Blackbeard was, but I don't think I want to be infamous the way Blackbeard was. Interesting guy. And more information, actually, to this day, they're still recovering information about Blackbeard, which is fascinating because the wrecks of his ships, especially his flagship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, may be the only pirate wreck that's accessible. Right here, right now, they are still excavating his shipwrecks. And, well, not right here, but in this day and age, they are still excavating. Enunciate, Harv. Enunciate. And bringing up artifacts from those ships. So, yeah, that's pretty intriguing stuff, in my opinion. They've got his cannons. How awesome is that? Many, many, many cannons. And if you don't know, the name of his flagship was the Queen Anne's Revenge. And interestingly enough, we talk about Pirates of the Caribbean, or Pirates of the Caribbean, or however you want to pronounce it. It's completely up to you. I really wish this car would get a move on. It's 7 a.m. Shouldn't you still be in bed? Only farmers get up this early. Anyway, we talk about Pirates of the Caribbean, and, you know, we think about the Bahamas and Cuba and all of that, Jamaica, but Blackbeard wrecked his ships off the east coast of the United States. In fact, at one point, the southern tip of Florida was considered part of the Caribbean. So when you think of pirates, you can think of South Florida. But there were many pirates who did harass the east coast of the United States during that time, during the golden age of piracy. And in fact, it was his harassment of the east coast of the United States that ultimately brought about his demise. Because they weren't having it. But we're going to get back to him in just a little bit here. I'm going to dump off another 40,000 liters of straw. Watch my trailer just get crazy. And then I'm going to see about selling off my oats. See, look at that. 2,600. Just for some straw. I'm not going to complain. Alright, let me get this rig back up to the farm, and I will catch up with you there. Okay, so what I ended up doing, actually, I came back, picked up a second load of straw, because I don't even have room for the little bit left in that storage wagon, and sold that off also. So now I'm going to load up with some oats, and while the trailer is loading, look at that, 147,692. So while the trailer's loading, I'm going to go ahead and tip the rest of this straw in. Now I still don't need over 300,000 liters of straw. I will be set for straw for a good long while. A really good long while. But, I mean, it's not like it's great money. It was more about selling it off to get it out of here, because I don't have room for 900,000 liters of straw. It's outrageous. And we're gonna get back to Blackbeard in just a little bit, because he is a very interesting guy. Let me tell you, really interesting guy. And I'm going to break out the big boy. That's what we're going to call this tractor. We're just going to call him Big Boy. Because that big field has to be cultivated before I can plant it again with my little baby seeders. Oh my gosh. Anyhow. I'm gonna hire a worker to get on this. Why? Well, because I have the money for it, that's why. And it takes for bloody ever. At least the cultivator's not super tiny. Let me get a worker on this bad boy. Course generation on field 44. I'm going to have him do at least a dozen headland passes, right? Let's see what that does for me. Oh yeah, that looks good. Back him up just a little bit. Make sure he starts at the first waypoint. We already know these guys are getting paid because I set that up earlier. And away he goes. Excellent. Very nice. Okay, let's get back to that truck. Start selling some oats. It's somewhere over here. Yep, there it is. And where's my best price? Well, the ranch has a demand, but they don't even rate next to the restaurant. Bad thing is the restaurant's all the way over on the other side of the map. So this is going to take some doing, let me tell you. Right there. I'm going to tag it so we can see where we're going. And off to make some money. And the best route that I've found to head that direction so far, I think it's this road. Is this the one with the rickety, wobbly bridge on it? I'm pretty sure it is. This thing is crazy. You try to bring the wrong thing across this bridge, you can forget about it. Absolutely forget about it. Because we've looked at this thing before, but oh my god. Look at that thing wobble back and forth. Shifting all over the place. But I don't want to spend all day getting my oats all the way over to the restaurant, so I'm gonna brave that sucker. Anyway, gonna be a long drive. You can see that beacon out there in the far, far distance. So I will catch up with you at Sail Point. Talk to you in a minute. The restaurant is just right here ahead. Coming in with my first load of oats. I hope they keep their price nice and stable. Not the best entryway, but hey, this truck can handle it. It's a pretty good truck, actually. It's been doing me quite well. Just dump my oats right here and see what we're going to make off these bad boys. $48,350. Now that is what I'm talking about. The farm is starting to pay off. Whew. I mean, I've been making a little bit of money here and there, but nothing like that. And I've got 2 more loads to haul. So I'm going to keep hauling oats. And when I get back to the restaurant for the last time, we will check back in and see where we stand. Last load of oats coming in. And I figure it's going to be a little bit easier if I swing around on this side of the restaurant. If all these fools will stay out of the way. I don't know why they're walking around back here. But hey, not going to let them stop me. Alright, let's see where we stand when this is done. Another $48,350. That's about $145,000 all told that we just made on our oats. $145,000. Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And I knocked over that cart. Oops. Sorry, Mr. Cart. Now, you may be wondering why I'm going this way. Well, since I'm down here, I want to check in with this shop and see what they can give me for haymaking equipment, if they've got anything for haymaking equipment. Like I said, these guys don't always have access. In fact, I could probably stand to do some maintenance on this trailer and the truck as well. They're looking a little beat up. So this gives me a chance to shoot right in there and take care of that. Yep, they needed a little bit of maintenance. But we're all good now. Just pull off over here. I'll be blocking these cars in for a little bit, but they'll get over it. Alright, let's see what these guys can do about mowing some grass. I guess I have to go across the street. Well, remember how I said equipment is limited, and a lot of times all you can get is old stuff left over from communist countries? Well, it turns out the same issue applies to grass equipment. But they did pull something out for me. It's used, of course it's used. But this is a mower. Not only that, it's a tedder, so it will make hay, which is going to be bloody important. And, well, It's a Fortschritt. And if you don't know anything about Fortschritt, Fortschritt was an East German Soviet bloc agricultural equipment manufacturer. So this is when before the Berlin Wall came down. These guys, however you want to phrase it, were manufacturing this equipment. The company remained after the Berlin Wall came down, but they were bought out by Case International in 1997 and disbanded. So take that for what you will. Even used, this stuff is not cheap. It was $105,000, and I still need to fix it back up again. That's going to be almost another $1,000. Yeah, by the time I repair everything, it's going to be a good $1,000 for repairs, but hopefully it's not big. Again, big farm, small equipment. Now I know to some degree why my aunt always had small equipment on her farm. It's not easy getting the bigger stuff. At least not around here. I hope those doors open up a little bit more in the future. Oh, what am I shutting it down for? But I'm going to get somebody to drive my truck back for me, follow me behind this mower. And see if we can't get everything back to the farm. That ought to do it. It's going to be slow going. I do have beacons, so I can at least alert people to my lengthy drive here. I'll hit the back roads here pretty quick though, so that won't be too much of a problem. We're still ahead on the day. I'm still 40,000 up on the day, so that's not bad. Those oats just paid for my hay making equipment. So we are moving right along and doing quite well, all things considered. 132,000, that's going to keep me in seed, going to keep my workers working for me, and it's still not great, but a good ways along to getting that first phase of rum production going. So I'm going to roll on back to the farm, and I'll see you there. Now that was definitely some slow going, but we're finally getting back to the farm. And I love that sign. Love it. I'm sure my Aunt Ann would be proud. Quite proud. I hope so anyway. See if we can't build a little bit of a legacy for her. I can see my workers still out there cultivating that field. And we're going to fuel this thing up, because they couldn't even be bothered to fuel the bloody mower for me. Go put this, actually, I'm gonna pull the mower out of the way and refuel the truck too while I'm here. Get the truck fueled up, put this trailer away. And see about making hay while the sun is still shining. Or some old cliche like that. Isn't that how it goes? Make hay while the sun shines, or I don't know. You know, I don't think I want this trailer under here. Yeah, I guess I'll leave it because I've got my tree harvester parked outside at the moment. I'll sort it out later. In fact, I'm just going to leave the truck there. I want to get this hay working. So, this is going to be our mower. It's got a header on it, just like a harvester. And this is the second header. I'm going to have to find something to do with. But for now, I'll just set it aside. Because this header is a tedder. It's the tedder header. Drop that bad boy off over there. This is not exactly grace on wheels, let me tell you. And it sounds like an old tank. But we'll see what happens. I think I'll just start right over here. Start on the outer edge and work my way in. Well, it mows, and it's mowing very well. Even if I wanted to make silage bales, it's even doing nice little neat grass windrows, so I can't complain about that. Oh man, that's rough through there. I might have to come back in and do something about that. Don't want to get down in here too far. It's doing a good job. I think it's doing a good job. Not going to get in too close to these trees on this end either, because it becomes a real hassle when it's time to pick this stuff back up. Same with the fence row down here. Yeah, I think that's all right. That pretty well wraps up mowing the pasture. Not bad. Not bad at all. Actually, it knocked it out fairly quickly. I can't complain. The steering's a little bit squirrely, but other than that, not too shabby. Let's see what we can do about making some hay now. Because that was the whole point. If we can't make hay, there really wasn't any purpose. But in the long run, this should pay for itself, right? Right. And I got plenty of other grass I can mow too. Just the pasture here wasn't being used. And it looks like I could probably get my rollers on that and get it compacted a little better so it will actually produce even more grass. So that'll be good. Drop that right there, and the tedder should fit through the... See? Squirrely steering. At least they told me this was a tedder. It better be. We're about to find out. Oh yeah, that sneaks through no problem. Good. Alright, well, it fires up nice and neat. It appears to be doing what it's supposed to do, but you know what? I want to go the other direction because I don't want... It's going to kick out to the left, and I don't want to push all this into the fence. Because it's going to become a real pain in the neck to pick up if I do that. There, that's better. That's a tedder, all right, but you know what I'm missing? I'm missing a windrower now because it's spreading the heck out of this grass. Although, you know, it's not that bad, so I think I might be able to get away without using a windrower. It's not horrible. So getting back to Blackbeard. Now, very interesting character, but like many pirates, not a lot is known about his early years. In fact, it's all been speculation. Nobody knows for sure where he came from, anything like that. Now, the one thing that they do know is that his real name was Edward Teach, or Edward Thatch. He's been called both, and there are variations on those two names also. Now, interestingly, in recent years, a man, I want to say his name is Brooks, he got a little bit of wild hair, went in search of more information about Blackbeard, and originally the speculation was that Blackbeard was born in England, Bristol to be exact. This guy decided to start looking into the records in the Caribbean, specifically Jamaica. And what he found was that there was an Edward Teach residing in Jamaica during the right time period to make him Blackbeard's father. And in fact, he was also a merchant captain aboard a ship. And not only that, this guy Brooks found a letter written by an Edward Teach, and he speculates that this was written by the Edward Teach Sr.'s son, eldest son, Edward. And what this letter said was that when his father had died, this Edward Teach had inherited all lands, properties, and all of that, being the eldest son. That was the custom of the day. So this letter was granting all of those properties to his stepmother and sister because he loved them so much, and the letter was specifically stating that, you know. He was also in the Royal Navy at the time and on board a ship when he had drafted this letter. So this gives rise to the theory about Edward Teach Sr. Being the father of Blackbeard, and that the Edward Teach who wrote this letter was the Edward Teach that eventually became Blackbeard. So that's pretty darn interesting. Just out of the blue, something like that comes to light. Out of the blue might be a little bit not quite the right words, but you know what I mean. And all of a sudden somebody, and this happens a lot when it comes to historical research, somebody ends up, you know, with a theory. They go chasing that theory until they either fully disprove it or find more information about it to help prove it. So, I mean, it is what it is. Take it with a grain of salt for now. But other historians have come back and said, hey, this looks good. We don't have definitive proof yet, but it sounds like this could be our guy. The other thing that's interesting about Blackbeard is that they also speculate that he never killed anybody. That he made himself into such a terror that you know, his very name would frighten people into submission. He was the terror of the day. He was the Freddy Krueger of his day. In fact, when he went into battle, he used to take wicks, slow-burning wicks, and tuck them under the edges of his hat and let them drape down next to his face and light them on fire so that spark and smoke would be coming off of his head while he was fighting, just to make himself even more horrific and terrifying. Because if you can scare somebody enough, you can get them to pretty much do whatever you want them to do. So, that was part of his MO. Just making himself into the most fearful person he could conceive of. Just so taking what he wanted would be much, much easier. But that's not to say he was not a fearsome fighter. Because we'll go back and look a little bit more of his history here in a minute, but he really, really ticked off the governors on the East Coast of the United States. And like I said earlier, they went after him. But when they finally caught up with him, there was a fierce battle on the deck of the ship. And history states specifically that Blackbeard took over 20 wounds before he died, and was in the process of loading another pistol to fire another shot when he finally succumbed to his injuries. So he was not going down without giving as good as he got. He said, "You want me? You're going to have to fight for it." And they don't record how many people did he take with him or anything like that, but just the fact, and they were, it wasn't just, swords and cutlasses like we like to think of. Blackbeard kept they call him a brace of 3 pistols that he wore across his chest, and he took 5 pistol shots as part of those 20 wounds. In fact, one account states that it was 25. But history always gets embellished, so you never know for sure. But whatever it was, Blackbeard was one tough SOB. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, depending on who you were at the time, he did fall. And he was decapitated, and his head was hung from the bow of the ship that captured him. When they sailed back into harbor, they put his head on display there. And we'll get back into that here in just a little bit. This is actually not bad. Not bad. Not as bad as I thought it would be. Actually getting this grass knocked out fairly quickly. Well, that is some excellent hay production for a small field. Over 55,000 liters. Absolutely outstanding. I had no idea. I really didn't believe I would get that much off of this. But there it is. See if I can swing this out. Don't hit the house. Ooh, that was close. While I've got it here, I might as well toss some in the horse's trough. There you go, guys. Have some hay. Alright. Well, I've probably taken advantage of Elizabeth's kindness Elizabeth's kindness just a little bit much. Lisbeth. I gotta remember to call her Lisbeth. I know it sounds really similar, but one starts with an L, the other starts with an E. Anyway, I should get this back over to her farm. But yeah, well over 50,000 liters in the silo, so the horses at this point are well taken care of. Very well taken care of. I'm going to grab the pickup. Grab Elizabeth's trailer here. And get it back over to her before she skins me alive. Okay, she won't skin me alive, but you know what I mean. I don't want to take advantage of her good graces. We'll get this back over to her farm and let those guys work on. So Blackbeard. Interesting character, really. He was much more successful before he became Blackbeard, if you want to know the truth of it. In fact, as Blackbeard, he really only operated for not even 2 years. 2 years is the absolute most that he was really functioning as Blackbeard the pirate. Like I said earlier, he sailed under Benjamin Hornigold, quickly proved himself. Hornigold gave him command of his own ship, a small ship known as a sloop. Only had 6 cannons on it. Only. I mean, I wouldn't want to be facing 6 cannons, but you know what I mean. And eventually they captured a ship known as the Concorde. The Concorde came under Hornigold's command, and Hornigold ended up giving that ship to Blackbeard. Blackbeard did some refitting on it, turned it into what he wanted it to be, and named it the Queen Anne's Revenge. He did, however, make quite a name for himself early on, and at his peak, he had 6 different ships in his fleet, all operating at the same time. Obviously, I mean, that's why they're a fleet, right? Anyhow, oh, I missed my turn. The Queen Anne's Revenge was his flagship. And he had 300, just on that ship alone, he had 300 pirates working with him. So, you know, to say he only operated for 2 years, well, that's true, but at the same time, he had really, really made a big name for himself and gained a lot of followers. And in order to do that, you have to be a successful pirate, making lots of booty in pirate lingo. Not today's version of the word booty. Pirate booty, treasure, capturing ships and whatnot. And what's interesting about that too is at one point, I mentioned a little bit earlier, he blockaded the port of Charleston, North Carolina, and it was a little bit of a last-ditch effort for him. He blockaded that port, and his only demand to release the port, to take his ships and go elsewhere, was that he... I am doing this completely wrong. Oh well. I'm headed in the general direction. He wanted a chest of medicine. You know, like a full doctor's kit. And as he was blockading the port, well, he was pirating the ships that were trying to come in and out of that port. So eventually the governor of North Carolina gave in to his request, gave him the medicine that he wanted, and I've gotten all sorts of turned around here. It's alright. I'll work it out. Oh, here we are. Right here. This is where I needed to go. This is a big part of Elizabeth's farm. Anyhow, he got the medicine he wanted, and not long after that, he went to North Carolina's governor and asked for a pardon. He said, "Oh, Mr. Governor, I just needed the medicine, blah, blah, blah. If you give me and my crew pardons, we will go on our merry way and leave you alone forever." Well, ultimately, the governor did give him the pardon. And there was something over here that's rather interesting. Let's see if I can find it again. No, doesn't look like it. Oh well. So anyway, the governor granted him the pardon. He goes on his merry way, and he actually settled in a town in North Carolina called Bath, also known as Beaufort. Beaufort, North Carolina. Oh, this was what I was looking for. It was in the opposite direction. So next to Elizabeth's farm, there's like a little airfield here. Got these hangars. At one point there were a couple of planes sitting around. I found that interesting. I'm not seeing them now, but they were here. So yeah, he settled in Beaufort, North Carolina, which is, at that point I believe was known as Bath. And I am doing it all sorts of wrong here. I'm thinking about Blackbeard and trying to drive at the same time, and I guess old Harv can't think and drive at the same time. Anyhow, and he married, I guess was his like 13th wife, 14th wife. Might even have been the 15th or 16th wife. I don't remember for sure, but it was in the teens. He had many, many wives apparently. Well, being the adventurous soul that he was, that just wasn't enough for old Blackbeard. And he went back to his pirating ways. Now he had, when he got his pardons, he broke up his crew, sent everybody on their way, and they're pirates. I mean, at least they lived the life of piracy, and they weren't going to stick around for a guy who was going to go be a gentleman and live on shore and all that happy jazz. So now he doesn't have his experienced crew with him. Well, Virginia, and these were colonies at the time. These were not states. These were just colonies. We were not the United States yet. The governor of Virginia was quite annoyed with the governor of North Carolina. In fact, Virginians were a much more advanced colony, had a lot more wealth going for them, etc., etc. And the Virginia governor felt like his colony had a lot more to lose by pirates operating on the East Coast. So he planned a raid against Blackbeard. And he didn't tell North Carolina's governor because he didn't trust North Carolina's governor. He felt like that guy had been bought off by Blackbeard. So he got a naval captain by the name of Maynard to go after Blackbeard. And ultimately, in Maynard's own words, in fact, there is a direct quote from him that Blackbeard took 5 bullets and sustained 20 nasty cuts before he succumbed. And what Maynard did, he set a trap for Blackbeard. So Blackbeard knew they were coming and actually engaged Maynard's ship, fired on him, and after the smoke cleared, all of the sailors and soldiers on Maynard's ship had disappeared below decks. Well, Blackbeard decided he was going to take the ship, went aboard with his crew, hauling ropes along to lash the two ships together so he could make away with it. And once he was on board Maynard's ship, Maynard and his crew came out from below decks and a nasty battle ensued that lasted, I guess, for about 6 minutes. That's a pretty long battle. Hand to hand, face to face on a ship's deck. So ultimately Blackbeard was defeated. He went down. They lopped off his head, hung it from the bowsprit, the bow of Maynard's ship, and tossed his body overboard. And there's a myth, there's a legend that when they tossed Blackbeard's body overboard, it did 5 or 6 laps around the ship and then disappeared from sight. So Blackbeard's got quite the reputation. Just pirate mythology all over the place. But yeah, for being the most popular pirate, you know, the one that everybody thinks about when they think about pirates, he was not Blackbeard for more than just a couple years. But he was brazen. There's no doubt about that. Let me go check on my guys over here. Just jump in and see how they're doing for seed. That's what I really want to know. Oh, oilseed. Oilseed doesn't use as much as planting a lot of the other types of crops, so it shouldn't be too bad. Well, as we truck right along here, getting this field prepped for the next crop, which I do believe is going to be soybean. I know it's going to be soybeans. I think that's going to do it for this episode of Pineapple Bay. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do me a favor. Remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. And until next time, take care.